This is not the time for cowards who die times without number. Because if you are a coward today, your children and children's children will pay the price of our cowardice. We must speak out and bear the consequences. Yes, right now, you can see what they are trying to do to eliminate my good friend Ibrahim Traore. Survived many assassination attempts. Because when you are doing good, they'll take you out. It is Samora Moises Machel who once said, when you hear the former colonizers saying you are good, you must pause and ask yourself, what evil are you committing against your people?
Hello everyone, welcome once again to AfriPost. I hope wherever you're watching us from, you're having a great time. Now, Captain Ibrahim Traore is one of the most loved African leaders in the continent right now because of the kind of development that is started to initiate in that country. Another thing that has made Africans proud of him is the fact that he was able to overthrow a government that was sympathetic to Western powers and start living and governing Burkina Faso with African ideals in alignment with the ideals propagated by our founding fathers like Kwame Nkrumah, Patrice Emery Lumumba, and even Thomas Sankara. People have given their opinions and he has received support from every quarter. But then, there is one African scholar who is renowned for Pan-Africanist spirit, Patrick Loch Otieno Lumumba, Professor PLO Lumumba. He was speaking at an event in Nairobi, Kenya, and he talked about the leadership challenge that Africa is facing and highlighted the need for African youth to wake up and support everything that is happening in Burkina Faso. He highlighted the challenges in Kenya and also looked at it, juxtaposing it with the happenings in Burkina Faso. And this speech was quite interesting. I want you to watch this, then let's come back and share our thoughts together.
We come here to interrogate what democracy is. I will not give you a typical keynote address. I'll simply identify a number of issues on the basis of which you can then continue with your long day or with your day-long debate. Last night, I was watching the results of the elections that had been called in Canada, snap elections. Canada has 38 million registered voters. Kenya in the year 2022 had slightly under 23 million voters. As the votes were being counted, the winning candidate called the election in his favor. And 1 hour later, the losing candidate gave a speech conceding defeat. Not so long ago, another snap election was called in Germany. Germany has 58 million plus registered voters. Within 1 hour of the closing of the voting, the winning candidate had called the elections and the losing candidate had conceded. In our country, you would still be at Bomas of Kenya, deciding whether 1 + 1 is 2 or 3. We would have printed ballot papers whose cost is more expensive than our currency, and they would have been printed in Greece. We can't count. We have individuals who think that people representation is life and death, and they actually cause death, and we cheer them. We cheer them because they come from our tribes. We cheer them because they have bribed us. We may be in boardrooms before the elections and speak very soberly, but on the day of the election, we are Luo, we are Kikuyu, we are Kamba, we are Kalenjin, we are Bukus. until we liberate ourselves from that sad reality, we'll never earn the dividends of good governance. Today, I'm reluctant to use the word democracy, because what is it? John Hendricks Clark, that great American, said that when African countries regained their independence, not a single one of them adopted a government system that is based on African traditions. We all adopted systems that were inherited from our erstwhile colonizers, and Clark says none of us will ever succeed on the basis of those systems. And I can't agree more. Look at Africa today. As I speak, Sudan. Look at Sudan. Look at Somalia. Look at Democratic Republic of Congo. Look at the entire Sahel. In Guinea, Doumbouya had to mount a coup d'etat. In Niger, they had to mount a coup d'etat. In Mali, Atimi Goita had to mount a coup d'etat. In Burkina, Ibrahim Traore had to mount a coup d'etat. In Gabon, Nguema had to mount a coup d'etat. There may have been successful elections in Botswana and in Namibia, but those are few and far between. We must interrogate this thing we call democracy. In Kenya, the people you call leaders, don't listen to them when they are in podiums in Nairobi, no. Listen to them when they are speaking in their mother tongue at funerals, when they are their true selves. They are Bukusus or Maragoli speaking Mulembe nation, or they are Kambas, or they are Kikuyus, or they are Luos. Their political parties don't matter. That is why there is not a single presidential candidate that has contested an election after 5 years in the same political party. As I said before, the forests change, but the monkeys remain the same, with the same habits. And let me tell you, if you continue doing the same thing in the same way, thinking that will change, nothing will change. I now see individuals across the country congregating, and you call them opposition. These were individuals who were in the Moi government. They were in the Kibaki government. They were in the Uhuru government. What is new about them? Nothing except their insatiable greed for power and the privileges that power offers. So we are assembled here to ask critical and serious questions. I've been around. I was here in 1980s. I was here in 1990s when the entire movement of change the Constitution was alive and well. I was in the Council of the Law Society. I've been here and I've seen Kenyans repeatedly electing individuals in the name of democracy who in other parts of the world would be completely unelectable. We elect comedians. And as one wise man, is it Albert Einstein, who said, when you elect a comedian to take him or her to the palace becomes a circus. And that is why we have what we have today. What is the value of knowing that which is right without doing that which is right? I keep on hearing Kenyans saying, we have a beautiful constitution. What is the beauty of a constitution which you honor and breach? What is it? You know, in 1967, the late Tanzanian President Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere was asked, what is the secret of development? And he said in Kiswahili, siri ya maendeleo ni watu, ardhi na siasa safi. And he added, siri ya maendeleo ni vijana wenye malezi bora, siha njema na bongo kali. And then he said, ukimwona mtu anakimbia sana kwenda ikulu, mkwepe kama ukoma. Kwani kuna biashara gani ikulu? He posed rhetorically. Ikulu ni mahali patakatifu. Musilibadilishe kuwa pango la walanguzi. We Kenyans hold meeting after meeting in boardroom after boardroom, in workshop after workshop. But we are unmoved and untouched. The question is, when will we have our journey to Damascus, like Saul of Tarsus, that we may change? Are we ready for the change? Are we prepared to do that which is right and good because it is right and good? I was involved in the process of making the Constitution jointly with others for 5 years. We produced the Boma's draft. We made many recommendations, some of which were retained in the current Constitution. We said Nairobi should not be a county. You made it into a county. We said we should have no more than 18 counties. Between 14 and 18, you created 47 of devolved units, each of which a governor thinks he or she is running a country. The United States of America has only 50 states with a GDP of 23 trillion United States dollars. Nigeria has only 37 states. India 37. China 30 provinces. South Africa 9 provinces. We have 47 counties with 47 governors, 47 deputy governors, 47 speakers, 47 deputy speakers. And you tell me that we are going to grow? When a county raises 400 million in a year and consumes 2 billion in a year, we can't grow. Even if there is divine intervention. We can pray and fast all we want. But nothing is going to change until we change. We have individuals in positions of leadership who do not care. They are unmoved and untouched. You accuse an individual of engaging in corruption. He has a mob around him, escorting him to the offices of the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. And he comes out and gives a press conference. Corruption is the most profitable business in Kenya today. You have individuals whose salaries, even if they lived for 1,000 years and worked for 1,000 years, would not buy them half an acre of land, and they are multi-billionaires. They have never won any lottery, never made any discovery, and we celebrate them as successful men and women, and we elect them to boot. As Dr. Waindi said, I grew up partly in Maringo, partly in Jericho, partly in Eastleigh, partly in my rural home in Usenge, in Imbo, in Shire County. When I was sick, you would go to the dispensary and you would find medication. Today, unless you are suicidal, you don't visit any of those outfits. When our leaders are delivering children, they go to the United States of America. And we are not angry. We are told that our police officers, and is in the public domain, collect 13.3 billion in bribes in a month, and we are not angry. Young Kenyans, the task is yours. Choose you now. Whether you want to be Kambas and Luos and Luhias and Kikuyus, or you want to be Kenyans, with the tribe only being for cultural reasons. Samora Moises Machel said, if the new African nation is to thrive, the tribe must die. Not that you cease to identify yourself as such, but it cannot be the basis for decision making. That I'm voting for an individual because he's from my ethnic group, that is the only qualification. That they gave me 200 shillings, that is the justification. We must rethink governance. Today, we have a parliament whose only claim to fame is that they have insatiable appetite for our taxes. Our parliamentarians relative to our GDP are the best paid in the world. In the world. They want CDF, not because they want to serve us. Ask each one of them how many companies they have formed, where their drivers and brothers and sisters and house helps are the directors. Ask them. Ask them whether they do not trade with the counties and with the constituencies that they run. Ask the MCA whether that is not true. Ask them how they become multi-millionaires within 2 years of joining public office. Ask them. Ask them why, when the courts have declared CDF to be unconstitutional, why they want to constitutionalize it, whether we like it or not. It is a slush fund. And you know, your typical Kenyan politician thinks that we have the memory of a mosquito and a warthog combined. That is why they don't care about us. The time is now that we must demonstrate that our civic duty not only demands but requires that we make demands of them. This is not the time for cowards who die times without number. Because if you are a coward today, your children and children's children will pay the price of our cowardice. We must speak out and bear the consequences. Yesterday, the 29th day of the month of April in the year 2025, you saw how 6 individuals were killed in cold blood. And nothing will happen to them. That is the tragedy. A culture of lawlessness and impunity has taken root in our country. So when you talk about democracy, what is it? It is not true that we did not know democracy, no. It is not true that democracy came from Greece. That was the Greek definition of democracy. When it came to the United States of America, Abraham Lincoln said of it that it was a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. That was their definition of it. In the year 1235, in amongst the Mande people, they were already having a Mandean charter. At that time, we did not have the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. There were orderly kingdoms in Africa. But the democracy that we are trying to practice is the neo-colonial version that was bequeathed to us by the colonizers. You come to Kenya, we still try to mimic the British. You go to former French colonies, they are trying to mimic the French. You go to former Portuguese colonies, they are trying to mimic the Portuguese. Until the day that we exercise the ghost of mimicry, we are going nowhere. That is why when you go to our parliament, a member of parliament cannot pronounce a word without saying, Mr. Speaker, sir, make your point. Mr. Speaker, sir, cannot be form and part of a speech. And you look at your speaker, he is dressed in wool that was used in medieval Europe. And you think that that is a badge of honor. You go to our courts, you find our judges are equally dressed in things that ought to belong to the Museum of History alongside the spinning wheel. And we think it is a badge of honor. You come to our leaders, they still want to be addressed as His Excellency or the Right Honorable something. Titles that were used in medieval Europe. We must change. And we are only going to change when you, the young generation, my friend Habib, in Kariobangi, and I know that area well. We work there even as I speak. Go out there and speak a different language. When we were growing up in Jericho, it did not matter whether one was Kikuyu. We didn't even know. It's only later that we knew that Kariuki was a Kikuyu name. And Wafula was a Luhya name. Today, you see the government advertising a post and they put there John Lukoye, Luhya. John Joroge, Kikuyu. Go out there in Kariobangi and change minds. Those of you who are from Kibera and Katwekera, go out there and change minds. If you are from Kaloleni, go out and change minds. And just don't be in Nairobi, go out there. In Kilifi, let ICJ not be a boardroom arrangement where we speak to ourselves in English. Nendeni mkazungumze na watu kwa Kiswahili na lugha zao za mama. Hilo ndilo jambo ambalo lazima tulitekeleze ikiwa tunataka kulibadilisha taifa hili. Kwa kuwa taifa imepigwa ngeta kwa lugha ya mtaa. Na wahuni tunaowaita viongozi. Na wahuni hawana haya. Siri ya ubinadamu ni kuwa na haya. Watu ambao tunaita viongozi Kenya hawana haya. Wanaua hawana haya. Wanaiba hawana haya. Wakati ni sasa tuwe ni watu ambao tuna haya. Na tusiogope. Tuwe wajasiri Uchaguzi ni mwaka 2027. Ikiwa ningeulizwa, hiki kizazi cha wanasiasa ambao tunaona wakiranda, wakipiora, tunawafahamu. Nyerere alikuwa akisema wasipong'atuka tuang'atue. Na tuna uwezo wa kuang'atua kwa njia za kupiga kura. Uamuzi ni wenu. Amueni. Na namalizia hivi. Namaliza kwa kumtaja na kutumia mfano aliyeutoa tena Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere. Hakuna kiongozi katika bara hili ambalo amelishughulikia jambo hili kumpita Mwalimu Nyerere. Akizungumzia mambo ya utawala, alisema tatizo la Mwafrika katika mambo haya ya kura ni kwamba Mwafrika ameleweshwa na kasumba ya ukoloni mambo leo. Na kulewa huko kunatokana na vitu viwili. Ama mpiga kura ni mjinga au ni mpumbavu. Na akasema tena Mwalimu, mjinga akiambiwa ataelewa na atabadilika. Sasa naombeni mwende katika mitaa na kila pembe za nchi hii, mtoe ujinga. Mwambie kila mtu ukabila na udini haitawasaidia. Na pia akasema ya kwamba kuna wapumbavu. Mpumbavu ni mtu ambaye amepumbaa. Hata ukimweleza hasikii. Ni wachache sana wapumbavu. Mkimwona mpumbavu mkwepe kama ukoma. Na mwisho kabisa naenda kule Ugiriki. Wagiriki walipozungumzia mambo haya ya kidemokrasia, na nitaeleza kwa Kiingereza ili na wengine waelewe. The Greeks divided their population, as you famously know, into 3 categories. Idiots. Idiots are individuals who may have gone to school. They have degrees, PhD, they are professors, but they are idiots. They do not make demands of their representatives. When there are potholes on the road, they buy 4-wheel drive cars. When there is insecurity, they hire security firms. Gardawald from Canada, Fargo from the United States, 4GS from the United Kingdom. Those are idiots. They think that they are immune. They are cast to their countries. Then there are tribalists who think that their security and safety lies with their tribesmen. Wenu ni wenu, they say kwa Kiswahili. Wanasema yours is yours. Mokamba kevindio. Odu adu. Modo wa nyuba. Those are tribalists. Shenu ne shenu murembe. Those are tribalists, and they are a danger to our country. The third category are citizens. The people who look at Kenya and they know that Kenya belongs to us and the generations yet to be born. And they want good roads. They want good schools where you do not know whether you are in CBC or CBE. You never know what we are doing. They want security. They want opportunities for our young men and women. They don't want our young men and women to be exported to Myanmar, to be exported to the Arab world in modern day slavery. Those are citizens. Today, I'm urging you to be citizens of the Republic of Kenya. Because when you are citizens of the Republic of Kenya, you will be good citizens of Africa, East Africa, and good citizens of the continent of Africa, and good citizens of the world. So go out there and do that which is good and right, in the knowledge that we have men and women in positions of authority who do not care and think that they are larger than life, almost as large as death. But remind them that they are lived a Mobutu in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Remind them. Remind them that they are lived a Jean Bedel Bokassa in Central African Republic. Remind them. Remind them that they are lived Bongo in Gabon. Remind them. Remind them that they are lived Jean-Claude Duvalier in Haiti. Remind them that they are lived Fez al-Assad and Bashar al-Assad in Syria, and they are no more. Remind them. God bless you.
Now, if you listen to that clip, you will be able to see the admiration that Professor PLO Lumumba has for Ibrahim Traore. Captain Ibrahim Traore has melted the hearts of many people, and I think if you look at the love African youths are giving him currently, you'd wonder why Africa is never united before. But he is a force to reckon with, and he has given Africa another reason to smile, another reason to stand up and fight for their rights. Professor PLO Lumumba, a Pan-Africanist and orator, has emerged as a prominent voice celebrating Captain Ibrahim Traore, Burkina Faso's youthful leader, for his audacious bravery in confronting systemic challenges facing his nation and the broader African continent. Traore, who assumed power in 2022 coup at age 34, is lauded for embodying the revolutionary spirit of figures like Thomas Sankara, a historical icon of Burkina Faso. Lumumba's praise resonates with a growing sentiment among Pan-Africanists who see Traore as a bold disruptor of neocolonial influences and entrenched governance failures. Traore's bravery is rooted in his distance of Western dominance. He has openly challenged the lingering control of former colonial powers, notably France, by expelling foreign troops and renegotiating resource contracts to prioritize national interests. Lumumba, a fierce critic of neocolonialism, admires Traore's unapologetic stance against external exploitation, viewing it as a courageous reclaiming of African sovereignty. This aligns with Lumumba's advocacy of African solutions to African problems, a recurring theme in his speeches where he invokes the legacies of Kwame Nkrumah and Patrice Lumumba. Moreover, Traore's domestic policies fuel admiration. Despite governing a nation plagued by jihadist insurgencies, he has implemented transformative initiatives, free education, universal healthcare, and agricultural revitalization through subsidized inputs and equipment. Those pro-people measures enacted amidst security crisis demonstrate a fearless commitment to Burkina Faso citizens, earning Traore accolades from Lumumba, who sees such governance as a rejection of self-serving leadership prevalent in Africa. Lumumba also praises Traore's resilience against external pressure. Accusations from Western entities like US AFRICOM's claim of gold hoarding are perceived as smear campaigns to undermine Traore's credibility. His survival of alleged assassination attempts further cement his image as a fearless leader, drawing parallels to martyred revolutionaries like Sankara. For Lumumba, Traore's ability to withstand such threats while advancing a Pan-Africanist agenda is a testament to his courage. Ultimately, Lumumba and like-minded Africans celebrate Traore for his bold vision of a self-reliant Africa, unbowed by global powers or internal chaos. His leadership, though controversial for its authoritarian measures, inspires hope in a generation yearning for transformative change, making him a symbol of bravery in the fight for African dignity and independence. I think that sums it up for us today. Ibrahim Traore is a leader worth admiring, and his work in the African continent by just rekindling the struggle, the spirit of struggle and the revolutionary spirit that Africans have had over the years is something that must be commended by every right-thinking Pan-Africanist. Tell me in the comment section what you think about this. And if you're watching us for the first time, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like this video, and also share. Thank you, and may the good Lord bless you. Goodbye.